The Roadie with Intercontinental Champion Jeff Jarrett versus Bob Sparkplug Holly. The best match on the card.
Yeah.
Imagine saying that about a Bob Holly Road Dogg match.
Well, it's just kind of like, I got about halfway and I was like, oh, that's the hardcore Holly.
It is.
But I didn't realise, it looks like, I guess it is NASCAR, so he looks like Cars. He's like the Pixar film Cars.
He did look like Pixar. He was sort of ahead of his time in that respect. What you see here again, that crashing bad, just ridiculous character era, the Roadie has got through to this by beating Doink the Clown.
Yes.
Doc Hendricks, one of the few things he says, he goes, he beat the illustrious Doink the Clown. And it goes quiet, and you can see Vince McMahon going, are you fucking kidding me?
He took the piss.
Or do you mean it? And Vince McMahon, you know one thing that Vince McMahon hates? Uncertainty. It'd be fine if he meant it like a dickhead. It would be fine if he meant it genuinely.
He hates things with layers.
But when you don't know, if Vince McMahon kind of goes, I haven't got the measure of it.
I haven't got the
easiest thing to do is just to get rid of him. Just get rid of him. Whereas Bob Holly has beaten Mantor, who is the part man, no, he's a Minotaur, isn't he? He's part man, part bull.
Yeah.
I was going to say part man, part Minotaur, but that would be like,
that would be a smaller amount.
One of my grandparents was a Minotaur.
You got a 33% chance of beating me.
Now, these are the people who will be part of the Attitude Era. Here, they are basically on CITV in the way that they'll become dramatic leads.
Yeah.
This is their early career where they're just, getting the credits. They do work well together in this, and they work really hard. I remember seeing this match at the time and just going, why would I care about either of these two fucking dildos? I hated them. Time has made them Road Dogg and Hardcore Holly. So when you watch it back, you go, oh, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
And you tend to go, I can see glimmers in this of goodness. And that, of course, is, what they would become. When it was on the first time you saw it, you just went, too stupid losers.
You're too stupid losers. You just sort of go, how did Bob Holly grow so much hair? Like, what
I know.
capacity of growing so much hair?
I know. And,
thick hair.
And then he spent years basically with a buzz cut, which you sort of went, why are you going bald? But you look at this and you just go, no, that is a fall from grace, isn't it?
He must be buzz cutting every night.
Oh, mate. Holly jumps off the turnbuckle straight onto Road Dogg's foot. Hate it when moves don't make sense.
Yes.
He isn't doing a move. He isn't going for an elbow drop. He is just trying to jump so he can land on Road Dogg's outstretched leg, which is dumb. There's a 1, there's a 2. Holly jumps out with a big kick out, and the referee just goes, actually, I've decided it's 3. And no idea quite what happened there, because Holly does stay down.
Holly hits the mat really hard.
He does.
It makes a horrible noise.
I'm sort of surprised that knowing what Hardcore Holly would become like, that if it was a botch, he would have been straight up and in the referee's face.
Yeah.
But what I did notice is Road Dogg leaves the ring immediately, and the referee follows him very quickly. And at this period, you don't see referees just going, I'm out the ring, I'm out the ring. And this guy is very much like, I am gone. I'm just, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm not even going to ask to be paid. I'm just going to go straight out. I'm going to get to my car. I'm going to drive home.
Yeah.
And I won't come to work tomorrow because it just saves the admin. Saves the admin. Fine. I mean, it's the best match on the show. It's not a great match. I mean, that is this show in a nutshell. There's a little interview with Shawn Michaels. He qualified over King Kong Bundy. One of those matches which is sort of interesting because it takes place between WrestleMania main eventers of different era. King Kong Bundy, of course, took on Hogan at WrestleMania 2, and Shawn Michaels, numerous WrestleMania main events. I like those bits where history comes together, and there's just a strange bit. When I was doing the Scott Hall bit for the fanzine, there was a match that had taken place in the early 80s that involved superstar Billy Graham and Scott Hall. Just a sort of weird bit where eras that seem so far apart. You've got 1970s sellouts of Madison Square Garden with Bruno Sammartino taking on a member of the NWO. Just thrilling. But you cannot hear what Shawn Michaels says.
Because Ted DiBiase's music. Whoever it is.
It's all over the top. The
Many.
weird thing is, you think, they've fucked up the mic feed, but they haven't, because you can hear Todd Pettengill, and he's got the mic in the right place. Yeah. But Shawn Michaels somehow is so sort of disruptive at this time that even when he's speaking normally, it just can't be picked up. Yeah. Because he wants to just be a pain. Really, really odd.
Shawn, any last minute words?
I don't know if I should be warming up, if I should be oiled down. My goodness, all I do is my imagination.
Shawn Michaels, ladies and gentlemen.
Vince just laughs anyway, whatever. It's, Shawn Michaels sort of goes, and Vince McMahon goes, I love that guy. Really love him in a weird way. Bit odd. Oh, what's this? Last night at the Philadelphia Marriott?
What?
The Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Yes, please. They've slid this in for our delectation and entertainment. Yeah.
It's funny to remember that the Hall of Fame, they were just like, this is something we do, but we've got to sort of announce it was there, but no one cares.
Yeah. And stick it anyway, yeah.
I do care.
I do care too. I want to see Ivan Putski Razor Ramon threatening a kid in a wheelchair. I want to see that.
Worth remembering, and nobody mentioned this in his obits, but Scott Hall seemed to be absolutely brilliant with the kids when he was Razor Ramon. He appeared on the Jerry Springer Show with two kids who had got paediatric AIDS.
Right.
And he hugged them and kissed them at a time when people were still worried about AIDS and about proximity with people who suffered from it.
He was their Princess Diana.
He was. I mean, and you see him in this bit, and he's messing around with a kid in a wheelchair, and he just has no sense of doing anything but going, I'm going to make this really special for this young dude. Absolutely love that. Whereas Shawn Michaels is there, and everyone's just trying to get his autograph, and you can see he's just like, get me out of this sea of unfuckable people.
He's hanging out of a function room door, and he could not be less in the corridor.
Vince McMahon, again, just trying to do that thing of talking to the youth and being so far out of time with it. And he says, it's the Hall of Fame. All the stars of today turn up. It's like the first time your dad took you to a ball game. He says, a line they'd come up with in advance that they didn't really understand quite what it was.
Cracker Jacks and home runs.
Oh, everybody loves you, Bam Bam Bigelow. What? Why is Bam Bam Bigelow for kids? If you don't get it, look it up.
Fishing on a Sunday, just like Bob Backlund.
Mom's apple grapple. The people in the Hall of Fame this year are Moolah, the Big Cat Ernie Ladd, Ivan Putski, Polish Power, who sings a song that seemed to be called My Melody of Love.
Yeah, it was
no idea what he's doing in there.
I thought he was going to sing like a foreign song, but it was very English.
It was.
It's just confusingly English.
Completely unwanted, but perfectly pleasant.
But he sort of stood up and he was sort of like, he's going to sing the national anthem of You Are the Wind Beneath My Wings. What?
I wanna sex you up. George Animal Steel also inducted here.
Rubbing his little plaque on his face because he's an animal.
A big forgotten bit as well where he's inducted by Bill Murray on an elephant.
Bill Murray on the back of an elephant.
Really
George Animal Steel and then he does a little skit that he's going to take George Steele.
I'm going to you animal, you beast. He says, you creature. I absolutely adored it.
You go ahead and tell him, Bill.
Well, no, we're not going to make it. We wish you all the luck, George. You animal, you beast, you savage. On second thought, you're a coward, nothing but a coward. I challenge you to come out of retirement and face me and my tag team partner, Ty. Anytime, any place.
The other inductees are mainly dead. There's Ernie Roth, who was the gay Jewish manager, the Grand Wizard, who was like a sort of space age sort of
liked his glasses
dude. Yes, that was as far as the space age went. Was just he had some glasses. You also get Antonino Rocca, who was a high flyer back in the 50s and 60s. They show his widow getting emotional in a speech, and it's otherwise a very dry ceremony. And you can see that they've taken that bit out and gone, this is in some way some human emotion that we will monetize. That is good. They mentioned that Moolah is as beautiful and gracious as ever. I mean, not sure she was either. Not sure anyone ever thought she was gracious. The only person who isn't there who was alive, who was inducted, was Pedro Morales.
Right.
Former WWF champion, or WWF champion, who was a Puerto Rican, and he was very much in New York in the 70s, lots of Puerto Ricans, and WWE liked to book ethnic champions. Bruno Sammartino appealed to the Italian Americans, and they'd fill out Madison Square Garden. They did the same with Pedro Morales. He was a very big hit at the time, but he is, to this day, the only living inductee who was not present for his or her induction in the WWF Hall of Fame.
Right.
At the time, he was a Spanish language announcer for WCW. And so it's believed that he didn't turn up because he didn't want to cause any friction with his employer at the time. What's unusual is that WWF still went ahead with it. I think it was unusual they decided to rubber stamp that when he's working for the opposition.
Yeah.
Interesting little trivia bit that nobody mentions. He's Shawn Michaels versus Kama, the ultimate fighting machine.
He's the ultimate fighting machine.
With $1 million man.
He's got a necklace made of gold because he melted down the Undertaker's urn.
He did. They've come out with a broken wreath as well.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, maximum 17 quid.
Can't believe you've broken that wreath.
Don't cry about it, Taker.
Crumbled it, maximum.
I mean, you own a funeral home. You must have like stacks
Loads of them, yeah.
You're the people you go to if you want to buy them. I don't understand why I've got one wreath. Well, bad business. Very bad business.
Get those two goths you got in the crowd.
Those two goths.
They said some of the Undertaker's creatures of the night are in the crowd. It's like just two goths.
I couldn't work out whether they were fans or whether they were plants.
I think they were plants. They were too good looking.
Well, they were good looking, and the funny thing is the bloke looks a bit like sort of David Flair and a bit like
80s,
IRS and a bit like Tommaso Ciampa without his beard when he's younger, and he does look like he should have been a wrestler.
Yeah,
but I couldn't quite work out whether they were just
whether
they were just two like fans who were well into it,
right?
And they really liked the Undertaker, and therefore they played their role. But the funny thing about them is
there's only two of them.
They seem like people who you'd track down in a slightly iconic fans way.
Yeah.
Like the British Bulldog is going to win whether he wants to or not girl who was tracked down at SummerSlam.
The British Bulldog's going to win whether he wants to or not.
Instead you've got these two people and it's like we've made the collective decision not to be interested in them. And I am. Kama, you've seen Kama before. He is the former Papa Shango.
Oh!
And the future Godfather.
Right, I didn't even spot that, to be honest.
No, he's looking different here. Again, it's the era of everyone having a job, and the job that Kama has is he is a UFC fighter.
Right, okay, I see.
He is a brawny, tough man in real life, is Charles Wright. This was a perfect example of they gave him that gimmick at a time when the UFC was, a novelty, but it wasn't popular. It was still very niche. And they decided to bring someone in under this fake gimmick. I think the idea was that he wouldn't be that good, so they could prove the superiority of wrestling over him.
Okay,
which again is sort of a complex, sort of like, double cutting your nose off to spite your face.
Very good.
Well, that's because he's from the UFC. But why have you got him? If he's so bad, why is he here?
Why have you signed him?
No, it's hard to explain now. Now you put it like that.
I quite enjoyed this match, but I can't really remember anything of it.
No.
I like the timing at the end. I thought that was quite cutely done.
Yeah, they go slow. This again is in a period where I think, if it was done now and you were a 15-minute draw, you would have it breakneck speed the entire way, lots and lots of close pinfalls, and you would finally, you'd give value for money. Here, it feels very much like they're going, we've got to get through 10 minutes before we can actually, begin to ramp it up, because I don't have the energy, says Kama, to do 15. There's a brilliant bit where he's got Shawn Michaels over his knee in a sort of backbreaker. So he is just like kneeling on one knee, that's a relaxing pose. And he's pressing down on Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels hits him in the eye. And Kama, you just see him sort of go, and then Shawn Michaels lies back in it and goes, and he's in it for another 45 seconds. And the only thing Kama could have said is, please don't do it now. Please don't do it now. I just need a bit of time. Just let me get my breath back. just give me a minute and then we can do it all, we'll do it like. And it's very much a case of, it's only 15 minutes, lads.
Time it out.
Come on, get out there.
You can't be blowing this early.
No, absolutely. The time limit, as it expires, the fans genuinely think that Shawn Michaels is going to pull it out of the bag. They think he's going to get there in the last couple of seconds. And as the 10 seconds towards the bell begin, you can see them visibly going, we're definitely going to get something here. Yeah. Because they think, Shawn Michaels is the only star in this tournament. And instead, what happens is they get a 2 count that's a fast 2, and the bell rings.
Yeah.
Even then, the crowd cannot believe that Shawn Michaels hasn't won. They cheer, they go, yes! Like that. And then they go, the announcer says, the result of the match is a double draw. And Vince McMahon goes, a double? It's a draw.
Yeah, why would you call it?
A double draw.
Was he told to say draw and he said double draw?
He was told to say draw. Yeah. Vince McMahon, you can really...
What? A double draw?
Those moments where you just go, that referee who left and get his car, I'm going to do the same. Just loads of people having to just leave.
Double draw. That's... And he's trying to clear it up and he can't. He's like,
a double. He's so angry he can't hold it back.
Both combatants...
Did you say that, Doc Hendricks? No, I didn't know. You're sitting there quiet, aren't you?
I was in the John.
Michaels is good in this because what you get in this show is you get Michaels unable to act anymore. And he is furious about how this has gone down. He says the word bullshit a couple of times. He looks at someone who is maybe it could be McMahon. It's hard to tell, but he's really angry and he mimics pulling someone's hair off, which is weird. I don't quite know what that is. He then does a sort of, I tried. What am I supposed to do in this circumstance? Sort of smirk, and then he really, against his will, begins doing his posing. and he just looks like he's simmering. When they cut back to him, having cut away to the crowd, he is just shouting down the rampway, back to the thing. He's just shouting at someone really sort of angrily. I have a feeling that he was a real problem backstage after this. But it's really odd to see those moments where you just go, there is someone there who is going, this is all going wrong.
Yeah.
And when you watch it, you're going, he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
What I think is there's a certain amount of he went out there, he had a bad match. This could be Shawn Michaels' worst match on a pay-per-view because he never had bad matches, certainly not of this period. And what you end up here is a complete stinker. And I love the fact that he takes that personally. You look at Yokozuna, and Yokozuna is like perfectly happy with how that went. It lasted 8 minutes and now I'm back here eating my asbestos. And Shawn Michaels takes it to heart and is genuinely angry. And this is a period where nobody seems to give a shit apart from Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. And I love seeing him angry here. You can also see him being petulant. He wasn't being professional, but there's something about that which is magic. And again, is a little glimmer into the period where we're going to start seeing, if you like, shoot stuff. We're going to start seeing what happens backstage spilling out into in front of the cameras. That is an exciting watershed moment.